American composer George Gershwin used to travel together with his friend Oscar Levant. Oscar complained that on trains he always had to take the upper berth, while George got the lower. Gershwin had a simple answer. That's the difference between talent and genius. Whenever I see someone, I see a gift. Each person is a gift to the planet, a gift to the human family. Each person has gifts as well, a unique and special combination of talents meant to be used for the betterment of oneself and the betterment of humankind. We see so many people putting their talents to very good use. But I would venture to state that there are other gifts inside us that have been buried, pushed deeper inside. Why do we bury our talents? Most of us can probably identify with that poor fellow in the story who received one talent. He was probably overwhelmed by all the greater talent he saw around him. One guy had twice as much as he did, and the one next to him 5 times as much. He couldn't compete with that. He must have thought, well, my talent is probably not going to make any big difference anyway, so I may as well just play it safe and bury it. We can sympathize. We see so many other people with so much more talent than we have, and we are intimidated. So we bury what we do have. Yet when we bury that talent, no matter how meager, humanity is poorer because of it, and so are we. Beloved author Henry Van Dyke admonishes, use what talents you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang there except those that sang the best. Even if we are not a world-class singer, but have the talent of song, let us sing. Even if we are not the gold medalist, let us still run. Maybe our talent is not as great as that of the person next to us. Who cares? Let us use that talent. No matter how small our gift, it is needed to complete the picture of God's love. Why do we bury our gifts? Why do we bury our lives? Sometimes perhaps we are intimidated, afraid to put them to use. We are afraid to give because we might lose. We are afraid to live to the fullest because we are taking a risk. We are afraid to love because we might get hurt. Yet God gives us that ability to live, that ability to love, that ability to give further. We are capable of burying the gifts we have received. But more terrible still is our ability to bury the gifts of others. I remember once while doing the funeral of someone who had been murdered, I began to reflect that I was burying more than just that one person on that day. When we kill someone, we also kill all the gifts that person had been given by God. In killing that one human being, we have killed a whole family who will never be the same. We have buried forever all the talents that were meant by God to improve our planet. And I began to grasp a little more how absolutely devastating to the entire universe a war is, when so many lives and so many gifts are suddenly extinguished. But we don't have to go to a murder scene, and we don't have to go to a battlefield. All of us have the terrible capability of burying the gifts of others right where we are. When we refuse to help those around us to develop the gifts given to them by God, we bury those gifts. When we spoil our children and do not allow them to grow into the men and women they are capable of being, we bury their gifts. When we put people down, intimidate them, make them feel worthless, we dig a hole for them and watch gleefully as they bury their own gifts. Just as, in the process, we have buried ours. Rather than burying our gifts, let us give. Rather than burying our love, let us love. Rather than burying our lives, let us live. Rather than burying one another, yes, wounding and maiming, insulting and killing one another on the battlefields of war and on the battlefields of life, rather than burying one another and falling ourselves into the hole we have dug for the other, let us cast the shovel from our hands, reach out those emptied hands, and lift one another up.